Hello everybody, my name is Suyash. You're watching Mind Body Spirit. Do you know that we are always having a conversation? Sometimes even when we are sleeping, we are having a conversation. And that conversation is with ourselves, and that is what is called self-talk. You must have heard about self-talk somewhere or the other already. Now, when we are talking to someone else, we always have some rules that we impose on ourselves, that we should try to be as polite as we can, we should not appear to be rude, we should not say anything that would hurt that person's feelings, and we should try to make that person happy. If at all possible, at the end of the conversation, that other person should leave feeling happy, isn't it? Now, do we impose the same conditions when we are talking to the person that we talk to the most? Now, I don't care how close that best friend of yours is to you. I don't care how much you talk to that colleague every day, but I can bet that you don't talk to them as much as you talk to yourself. Do you have the same rules set for self-talk as well? So in this video, we'll talk about how crucial self-talk is, especially if you know the law of attraction. Even if you don't know the law of attraction well, self-talk is very important. But if you do, it becomes absolutely crucial. And we'll also talk about affirmations that are a wonderful way how you can fix your self-talk very easily. Let's get started. Now let's first understand affirmations, as affirmations will help you understand self-talk better. Affirmation, as the name suggests, is to affirm something, and affirm, as the name suggests, is to firmly state something, to make something firm, to make a point very firmly. Affirmations is not necessarily to someone else, affirmations is to ourselves. To understand affirmations, let me give you an example. Let's say you're trying to increase your income. Now, whenever you look at something that you probably can't afford, it is something expensive that you see somebody else having and you would also like to have it, but what you think is that, hey, I can't afford it. I'm really poor. I've always been poor. My income is growing, but it's growing very slowly. At this rate, I'll stay poor all my life. Maybe these are the thoughts that come into your mind, right? Now, these are affirmations, right? Because you are affirming something to yourself, even though these affirmations don't serve you because they are negative affirmations, right? And these affirmations actually are self-talk. You're talking to yourself and you're saying that, Suyash, you're poor. I am talking to myself and I'm saying, Suyash, you're poor. You don't look good enough. You are not good enough. You're not competent enough. Things like that. So I am affirming to myself all the negative things, all the negative beliefs that I have. And what that does is it reinforces those negative beliefs. And so, yes, the thoughts that we have are a function of our beliefs. We think what we believe, but the converse is also true. What we think, we believe. And so when we think of these negative things, even if they are currently our belief, that belief gets solidified. And so what we can do is we can convert, or rather we can replace these negative affirmations with some positive affirmations deliberately, even if they may not be true. And so when I look at something that I can't afford, I can instead of it's very easy. Any fool can think, yes, I can't afford it, because you can't afford it. But you're not a fool. You are an extraordinary person. You just need to understand the power that you have. And so once you have understood that power, what you can do is, when you look at something that you may consciously know that you can't afford it, you can deliberately plant this idea that I can afford it. At my income, the kind of money that I'm making, I can easily afford this. I can afford this, and if there is a better variant of this, I can afford that as well. And I would in fact go for that because I deserve the best. You can start to deliberately have these kinds of thoughts. You can start to deliberately start affirming these beliefs, and what will happen is that in the beginning these thoughts will actually seem very foreign to you. It'll be like, no, come on, what are you talking about? I can't afford it. This is really expensive, right? But what will happen with time is, and with consistency, when you keep doing these affirmations, what will happen is your mind will gradually start to grasp this idea, to grasp this notion that yes, you can afford it. And that's what we just talked about. Instead of your beliefs dictating what you are thinking, your thoughts begin to dictate what you believe. And so what you do is, through affirmations, you changed your self-talk, and through self-talk you change gradually your beliefs. And why this self-talk is so important is, see, we have talked already about so many law of attraction processes. We have talked about visualization, for example. We have also talked about writing, and I've told you that writing, for example, is something really, really powerful. But the point is that you are visualizing at max, I think you're visualizing a few minutes a day, maybe 30-40 minutes a day. You are writing about your intentions in the positive, in the present tense, really positive thoughts about your intentions. Probably you're writing half an hour a day, not more than that. But this self-talk, it just goes on and on and on. And so this is so important that you have to fix your self-talk. And if you can do that, law of attraction application becomes just so easy. And there is another thing why self-talk is so important. Let's say you're talking to a friend of yours. Is the conversation very linear, just about one topic? You decide beforehand, let's meet for a cup of coffee and this is what we'll discuss. Maybe some sort of business meeting would be like that. But let's say you're talking to a friend. What happens is that you start talking about one thing, and one thing leads to a different topic, which leads to a different topic, isn't it? So hey, so we are meeting after 5 years, and what is that guy doing, that we studied with? Oh, you don't know he got married recently? Oh really, he got married recently? Who else got married from our batch? Oh, these 5 more people got married. Oh, that person, that reminds me, she was in law school, didn't wasn't she? Has she completed her law degree? Yeah, she's completed her law degree. Hey, did you hear about that lawyer that was recently abducted or something? Now you're talking about an abduction, you're talking about a crime. You started this conversation with talking about your friends, and all of a sudden, maybe a week later, when you remember this conversation, you won't even remember how did we start talking about crime, but we ended up talking about crime for 30 minutes. But what happened was that one thing led to another. And so the same thing happens with self-talk as well. One negative thought can lead to so many negative thoughts. When you tell yourself, you're talking to yourself, and when you tell yourself, I can't afford this, that creates so much more negativity within you. And so it's important that you fix this problem at the very root, and the root is your thought. So you can change your thoughts. If you can change your self-talk, it's not just that your self-talk will improve and so applying the law of attraction will get slightly easier. No, everything will change. Your thought process, your thought pattern will begin to change. And so it is something absolutely crucial that I recommend you to try. Now, how do you go about affirmations? Well, it's very simple. First of all, a lot of people that message me about affirmations are really stuck in how to formulate an affirmation, what kind of sentence to write. The problem is that most affirmations that we have come across have been written by law of attraction coaches, and so those people are really good at writing affirmations because they've been doing it since a long time. But don't worry too much about it. You don't have to be really good at writing affirmations in order to be good at applying and using affirmations. You don't have to write like J.K. Rowling to write a good email, right? Self-talk is not poetry. Self-talk is simple communication. So start with any line, any line using any simple words that really relate with you, that you should feel familiar with, right? And start using those affirmations. I try to post examples of such affirmations on my Instagram quite frequently. So if you are on Instagram, make sure you follow me there. I'll leave my ID somewhere on the screen. The ID is Suyash MBS. MBS stands for Mind Body Spirit. So follow Suyash MBS on Instagram for my thoughts and my affirmations, and I really like interacting with you on Instagram as well. Also, I'm on Facebook, so you can follow me there also. But my point is that you can create your own affirmations. Just start using it. It's very simple. What do you want? Just start writing down what do you want. Write maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs about it, and then try to condense that into 1 or 2 lines, and that is your affirmation. It doesn't have to be something very well written. It just has to be something that makes you feel good, that fills you with happiness, that makes you feel positive, and that you can relate with, because you are all that matters. There is nobody else that has to like your affirmations, because you're not talking to anybody else about that affirmation. Affirmation is self-talk. It should please yourself. Now, once you've made your affirmation, and I would totally recommend to make several affirmations, one affirmation about every intention, maybe several affirmation per intention, and just note them down somewhere. If you can remember them, that's perfect. And while using them, obviously gradually you'll start remembering them. Now, once you have your affirmations in place, just start using them. And so when you are brushing your teeth, for example, when you're doing something mundane, when you're driving, when you're doing something that you can do without putting any thought into it, just use that time as your affirmation time, and just keep repeating that and try to feel the feelings of all of that affirmation already having come true. And what will happen is that will become, that time that is normally really non-productive, well, that time becomes really important for you in terms of the law of attraction, and you will actually see that the quality of your day really improves to a large extent as a result of using these affirmations. Now, another important thing about self-talk is there will sometimes be negative thoughts. Don't fight with them, right? It's okay to sometimes have negative thoughts. What you can do is that very gently you ignore them. Don't even pay any attention to those negative thoughts. Ignore them and simply replace them with a positive thought. That can be your affirmation. Sometimes you will be successful in completely replacing that negative thought. Sometimes you will not be. Don't let that one negative thought give rise to another negative thought that, hey, I'm thinking negative. Suyash told me to use affirmations. I'm not being able to use that. Well, let me confess to you, sometimes Suyash also feels negative. It's perfectly fine to feel negative sometimes. It's okay. Sadness is an emotion that we all sometimes feel. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to feel more sad because you are feeling sad, because, oh, I'm feeling so sad, that means that I'm failing at the law of attraction, is perfectly fine. Tomorrow will be another day. Make sure that you start tomorrow with something positive. For example, I start with meditation, and then I use affirmations. I'm soon coming up with a video about my law of attraction schedule, because many of you have requested that, so that will be coming soon. Also, I'm coming up with that series that I promised. My goal is to launch it this Saturday. And so that series to start manifesting for beginners with the law of attraction, how to really start applying the law of attraction, how to manifest stuff. I'm really excited about that series. That series is coming soon. That's all I wanted to talk about in this video. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. Any comments or feedback or questions, please use the comment section down below. Make sure you subscribe. Also hit the bell icon to be notified about my future videos. As usual, a pleasure talking to you in this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.